Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ACW Newscast 35. I'm Hakeem Johnson, your ACW commentator as always. And what a week it has been for ACW as a whole. We're going to answer some of your questions and comments that I did not get to last week. So we're going to answer some questions and read some comments here. And if I sound a little bit tired, it's because I am. The life of working a 5 to 9 job and going to school and taking care of family and all those other things. They will take a toll on you sometimes, but such is life. But we're gonna first go to YouTube and read some of these questions and comments. 1989 Worms 1 says, and it was response to the questions of the newscast from last week. I asked first of all last week, who do you think is going to win the whole King of Elite tournament? And he said Kanikaman would. And Kanikaman is being seen as a clear favorite right now, to be honest with you. And I also asked a second question that if there was any other colleagues you wanted to see collaborate with ACW, which ones you wanted to see. And 1989 Worms 1 said ACW versus SCAW. That would be an interesting concept. That would actually be a fun concept. A lot of interesting dynamics. First of all, I have nothing but love and respect for Lone Star. I think he has changed the call league game. What no DQ and it pretty much started along with Slam and Jam and other leagues. But no DQ call, what they started, SCAW has now perfected. And part of the reason why I started doing ACW was because I was an avid viewer of no DQ, and I wanted to implement a video game animation anime spin to that. And SCAW has now eclipsed pretty much almost most of these colleagues that are out there than those in the past. So SCAW will always have my respect, will always have my love. No beef, I guess, no beef or feud or whatever. If anything else, it would just be a friendly competition. But an ACW SCAW collaboration, whether it's a mega event or whatever, would be very interesting because Edward Elric is on ACW Impulse, yet he's the current SCAW champion. So that's a lot of factors into it that you can assume. SCAW has Ichigo Kurosaki, Yusuke Urameshi, Inuyasha, and two of those three I used to have on the Turbo brand, Yusuke and Inuyasha. So it'd be an interesting dynamic. I would not decline a future project between those two. Fluke Dog 08 Rises 2, the guy that leads TNAX. Go check it out on Daily Motion if you haven't already, and we'll get to that in a minute. But he asks, what if you can bring Sakura Hajiwara from Wanna Be the Strongest in the World to ACW's Women Division? I've been getting a lot of questions about the fact that I mentioned that we were going to have an ACW Women's Division, but since during that hiatus, that kind of fell through the cracks. Have no doubt that I'm still going to do an ACW Women's Division. But with the current plans and storylines that I have locked for this season, I don't think it's going to be able to. The division's not going to be able to really fit into those plans yet. Because if I do it now with the plans that I have right now, it's going to seem minuscule, and I don't want to do that. I want to make the ACW Women's Division feel different from other colleagues in a way. Maybe not to the level of VWF, but something a little bit different. So yes, the ACW Women's Division is gonna still happen. I just gotta figure the timetable to do it. And as for your question with Sakura Hajiwara, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know that anime show, and during my hiatus, I haven't been keen on catching up with any anime shows. I haven't even really been watching any animation period for a while. unless it's regular shows, Adventure Time or something like that. But like I haven't been caught up with that. I've been really busy with a lot of things in my life, and but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to. I'm gonna have to. So um, maybe if I watch that show, maybe that's a suggestion that I can come back to and be like, hey, you know what? I can bring her in. I can see what I can do with her because I have no problem bringing in talent from anime shows that people probably don't know about in the mainstream. See Haru Glory. And yes, Rave Masters was on Toonami, but Toonami was such a former shell of its former self at that point that it wasn't really as mainstream as it once was, and Rave Masters really wasn't a mainstream show if you think about it. So I have no problem bringing them in. I just have to watch the show to kind of further my judgment on that. But thank you for the question. I really do appreciate it. Brian Bonus, an avid ACW fan. Go check him out on Facebook and on YouTube as well. And he probably has a question for me on Facebook that I will get to in a minute. But Brian Bonus states, I can't wait for ACW's return. I believe it's on Memorial Day. I think it is. I'll have to double check. I don't know. Here's a question. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen OCBF lately, but if you have, what do you make of the Ima Valentine? Would you consider an ACW? Again, kind of answering Fluid Dog's question, I haven't really been catching up on a lot of things that I used to catch up on, whether it's anime shows or colleagues, or there was a time even though I'm training to be a professional wrestler, I wasn't even following professional wrestling for a while. But OCBF, I like OCBF. I think it's a different colleague, and you want to strive to be a different colleague. And for future people that want to do cause leagues, my advice to you would be to always be different, always be unique, and always make sure it's something you want to do and it's genuine. Don't try to be like everybody else. Don't try to verbatimly copy an SCAW or ACW or VWF or no DQ call or you know DWA. Do your own thing. That's my advice for all you guys that are wanting to do call leagues. But yeah. So OCBF, I love the call league, but I have not been following it. I love Deadpool there. He's awesome. I really do, but I really have not been following it. And that's not a slight on OCBF. They know that I got nothing but love for them, but again, it's just I haven't been following a lot of things. I'm gonna start to follow them again as we get close to the ACW return. But again, if I feel like she is somebody that I can really use for the women's division, of course I'd use her. I obviously would use her. 005 Classics has a comment for me. I have a feeling that either DK or Hiei will win the tournament. Well, DK has unfortunately been eliminated now, but at least he had hope. Glad to see that you are back. I've been a loyal fan of ACW since it was on the African 15 channel. Thank you. I look forward to the return of ACW. Thank you very much for that. I'm still a little bit irritated that my African 15 channel was shut down because that's where I had a lot of my past really old school ACW shows. You know those shows where I was using the camera to I had a stack of video game covers and the camera would be the right height just to film the whole TV catching the action. Those type of shows. And I miss having those shows because as much as they are way outdated and subpar compared to what I do now, they're still a part of the history, they're still a part of what I did. And for a while I used to go back and just watch them and enjoy them. So here's a suggestion if anybody's listening. If you guys have any of my ACW shows or segments or mega events, any old school show, mega event, moment, segment, whatever, match, what have you. If you have any of them, it'd be a real pleasure if you guys can send them to me in any way you can. It would mean a lot to me if you guys could do that. And if you guys can be able to do that, I can start uploading them onto this channel and back them up on my own personal hard drive. So thank you for the YouTube comments. Now we're going to get onto Facebook. Once again, ACW has its own Facebook, Anime C Wrestling sorry, Facebook.com/AnimeCWrestling. Sorry, I'm just kind of really tired, and I'm gonna try to get some sleep after I'm done with this. But UCCW owner, again, another colleague you need to check out. UCCW, a rising colleague that is making a lot of waves around all the circles. Check it out. But he has two questions. One, what is your thoughts on the Video Game Wrestling Network, the new network for Call Wrestling? And two, what happened to ACW Fusion? Well, let me answer the second question. If you're asking what happened to ACW Fusion in terms of I can't watch it, it should be on Blip TV. It should be on VO. I haven't deleted ACW Fusion unless I have to double check and there's some malfunctioning. I don't upload mega events on YouTube. I just don't, because I have more freedom with my mega events, and I know YouTube's really, really restrictive, way more restricted than they ever were before my hiatus now. So I tend to put my mega events on Blip TV and VO. But should be there. I did ACW Fusion, so you just gotta look hard and check for it. For your first question though, my thoughts on the Video Game Wrestling Network, I think it's a great idea. We live in an era of social media where we can connect with each other with just a click of the mouse, and I think it's a great thing for colleagues, because as technology and animation and the like keeps evolving, the colleagues have to evolve as well. For a while, back when Call was really starting to get hot, we had Call Underground and other forums where you can post your shows on those forums. Now that Facebook and Twitter have now risen from out of nowhere, you can do a different sort of strategy of trying to showcase your cause. So I'm a fan of Video Game Wrestling Network. I am honored and I am glad that I am a part of the Video Game Wrestling Network. If you are a member of that group on Facebook, you will be seeing HW shows and mega events there as well. So, and if you haven't already, so there you go. Torin Anthony Fluker, once again, that's Fluke Dog from the YouTube. He's the owner of TNXA. Sorry. Again, check him out. But he asked me if XHP works for WWE 13. Can you make one for their ACW Titantrons like it did for CCL, US Dojo, and VWF? If not, or don't have 360, you have a PS3 for ACW. To answer that first question, yes, I do have a PS3 for ACW. Not really a fan of the Xbox 360 or Xbox One, but I wouldn't be opposed to getting one. If I had the option to create my own custom-made ACW Titantrons, you damn right I would have done it by now. But that's just the way things happen. I don't really mind in the end, because I'm able to still be creative and try to incorporate other things. It's like what Paul Heyman used to say. It's kind of like hide the negatives and strengthen the positives. So I've kind of lived by that mantra. And number two, what would happen if you found out about Haru Glory was on my league TNXA since TNXA Draft 2010? I did know that Haru Glory was on your league, and I'm perfectly fine with that. If anything, that says how much influence that ACW has had on Call. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, or I'm not trying to inflate an ego or anything, but ACW was different when it first started, and when it evolved, it was really different from pretty much any other Call league. It had its own niche, it had its own lane, and it inspired a lot of people to do their own thing. When I first started with ACW, my whole thing was that there are a lot of obscure there were a lot of obscure animation, and video game characters that not a lot of people were using. Sure, I still use the Narutos and the Gokus and the Edward Elrics and what have you. All the mainstream popular anime characters, fine. But I also use the underground, um, independent, unknown, shows as well. You know, Mugen and Jin from Samurai Champloo. That's a cult following, but still, it was underground. Haru Glory, um, someone that was on a show on Toonami, a Toonami that was not the great Toonami as it once was, and a show that really did not catch a following as much as they would lead you to believe. I used Haru Glory and I built him up naturally to where he's the ACW XL champion, and now people are using Haru Glory for their own leagues like yourself. So I implemented a lot of things. I didn't want my call to be a league of just people that everybody knows. Like I didn't want ACW to be a league where all the characters are mainstream and popular. That's fine, but that's all you know. Like I'm not bringing in new upcoming animes. I'm not bringing in new upcoming video games and stuff like that. So that was my whole plan, and I don't mind people using Haru Glory. It's Caw, you know what I mean? Everyone has used some sort of Caw in multiple leagues, you know. It's not like it's not like I brought up Haru Glory and he signed with ACW, so you can't use him. It's ridiculous. That makes no sense to me. That's not what it's about. Um, Joey Sharuba, I think. No wait, Joey Sherba. Sorry if I said the name wrong. And he actually gave me a CAW review on Animania 2, and I do appreciate it. I have much love for him for that. Thank you very much for the review. Um, yep, constructive criticism and praise. I appreciate both. It makes me strive to be better with ACW. So thank you for that. His question, his answers to the newscast questions from last week. He says that Kakashi Atake is going to win the Elite Tournament. That might very well possibly be. He's going to have to go past Hiei to do it, but it's possible. And he says that with the colleagues that I should collaborate, it should be UCCW, VWF, and SCAW. UCCW, again, I don't mind collaborating with UCCW. If anyone remembers, I used to be part of the Big Four in terms of anime. In terms of anime colleagues, I used to be part of the Big Four with PAWL, RCWF, and Pride AC. And we had plans to do like a big mega show, but things fell through. I had a hiatus back then. And then PAWL was kind of on hiatus, and it just kind of fell apart. But those were the plans at the time, and I didn't mind doing it. So with UCCW, I don't mind doing it. VWF, I don't mind doing it with as well. Although that could be a little bit difficult, because one, I think Fred is experiencing some difficulties with YouTube right now in terms of uploading VWF shows and events. So so that is up in the air in terms of that. And plus, he does run an all female colleague, again, something different, which I like. And I am a fan of VWF, like I was a fan of NGW. But that'd be weird. It's an all female league. So it would be interesting, but in a way weird how we try to combine those forces. And again, like I said, SAW, I would love to, that's probably one of the top 3 leagues I would love to collaborate with, most definitely. So I'm sorry. And Jason Caldwalder, Jason Caldwalder asks me. Okay, he answers the questions. Actually, has a few questions really. He says, "What do you think of the revamped version of Toonami so far? And the show I want to see in ACW is Soul Eater." My thoughts on the Toonami reboot on Adult Swim. I like it. Sure, it's pretty much just the Adult Swim anime lineup with the Toonami brand attached to it, if you want to be honest. But it's way better than the Toonami we were getting before it went away back then. Because I remember that Toonami, all it was Naruto, a crappy 4Kids One Piece dub, and other shows that did not spark my interest whatsoever. Toonami pretty much became the Naruto block for me. That's how I saw it, and it was just a far shell of what it was. But right now, in terms of Toonami, right now, I like it. I'm a big fan of Space Dandy. I love that show. I think it's funny, and it's fun to have some fun in anime. So I like that show. Um, Sword Art Online is another show, and that was a show that I was watching. I said I wasn't following any anime and stuff like that, but that was one of those shows. Those were one of the very rare shows during my hiatus that I was following as a dub before it became an English dub. So I like Sword Art Online. I haven't caught up with it in a while. I haven't caught up with it in a few while, but I will, and I do see some characters that I can use for my benefit with ACW. Of course, you got the classics like you know, um, Cowboy Bebop. So I had a brain fart. Cowboy Bebop and Full Metal Alchemist in there as well. One Piece. So I like the new Toonami so far. And as for Soul Eater, yeah, of course. I mean, again, if it's beneficial for ACW, if I can find a place to fit it, you can see them on ACW. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And he predicts that Kakashi Atake will win the tournament, and that he wants to see VWF, CCL, Call Champions League, and SCAW collaborate with ACW. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for all your questions and comments for this edition for the ACW Newscast. We went a bit long here. That's fine. In future ACW Newscasts, though, we're going to be doing them to 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to try to really shorten them. We're really going to try not to, make them go so long. So, yeah. As for the ACW Newscast questions, you will find out about those on the description box for this YouTube video and on the future status on Facebook. And you can answer those. Remember, send your questions and comments on the comment box on YouTube and comment box on Facebook. But that is it for the ACW Newscast 35. I'm gonna take my happy ass to sleep and make sure I don't sound this dreary and monotone like I did this week. Apologies for that, guys. But thank you for joining me for the ACW Newscast. I will see you guys all next week. And until then, as always, stay cool. Stay cool. Later.